Jawad Kardouti, Institut Marocain des Relations
Institute for Foreign Affairs. I have a question for Mr. Trichet. As you know, the Moroccan economy has strong ties to the EU. Unfortunately, because of poor economic growth within the European Union, we have suffered from decrease of our exports towards the European Union and also decreased foreign direct investment from Europe, investment in Morocco. So my question is, first of all, why is the growth rate in the European Union lower than it is in the US and in Asia? That's my first question. And secondly, what has the ECB done? What does it do to enhance growth within the EU? And what is your forecast for growth within the EU in 2011? Thank you very much. Mr. Trichet? Well, that's a broad question. My first comment would be as to, well, the last part of your question. We published our forecast recently, growth forecast, as did the IMF, growth for Europe. So to give you an overview, a general idea, we feel that we are in a period of great uncertainty. Hence, we publish an estimate, a range, and I'd say the median point would be 1.6%, a growth of 1.6%, 0.6% more than what we had anticipated, what our partners had anticipated just 3 or 4 months ago, 0.6% more. The IMF has set a figure of 1.7%, and that is not 0.7% more than what was forecast just a few months ago. So here we see this is a positive phenomenon, but we want to remain cautious. And clearly, this is very modest growth, and we do not feel that this means that now we are in a perfectly satisfactory situation. And you asked about 2011, and we have a figure of 1.4%, the average or the median point. The IMF's figure is slightly higher, but again, these figures are higher than what we had expected just a few months ago. And then as to your other question, well, within the ECB, and I'd say this is true of all the national central banks in Europe, without any exception, both within and without the Eurozone, we insist on the need to actively pursue structural reform that will make it possible for all of Europe to increase its growth. There is potential for growth, but it needs to be enhanced, and this makes, well, complicates many things, in particular combating unemployment, creating jobs, and also guaranteeing pensions. Everything becomes far more difficult when growth is slow. And you can see what's being done in Europe regarding structural reform, but you can see that the local population tends to resist such reform. But we really call upon all countries to be as committed and as active as possible, because of course there are these reforms can be a source of short-term difficulties, but they can guarantee the longer-term growth that we hope for and that Morocco hopes for. And then a third point, and it's intriguing, and I would ask you to think a little bit about it. If you look at the large industrialized countries, and if you calculate not so much their growth in absolute value, but rather their per capita growth, over the past 12 years, I have noted, and it's quite surprising, approximately the same per capita growth in the US, in Japan, and in Europe. It's not a very good figure, approximately 1%, maybe a bit more or a bit less, but that's the general idea. Per capita growth in the industrialized countries that I just mentioned. I see you are nodding, Mr. Kuroda, so you agree. So what does this mean? Your comment, you said, yes, there's stronger growth in the US than in Europe, and Europe has had more significant growth than in Japan, but this is all due to demographic reasons. In Japan, the demographic situation is quite poor. In the US, it's far more dynamic, and in Europe, we're somewhere in between. This doesn't mean that growth in absolute value doesn't have significant, great importance, and it's a huge handicap when you aren't developing demographically in the most desirable way. And so this can, of course, have significant impact also on relations, trade relations, and investment relations like those between the EU and Morocco.